You think I'm broken? Look closer. I am fire. Not the kind that dies with the wind, the kind that waits in silence, the kind that smolders in the ashes long after everything else has turned cold, the kind that consumes when you least expect it. They saw me fall. They thought it was the end. They whispered, "He's finished. He's done. He's nothing but ruins." But ruins are sacred. Ruins are where gods are remembered and kings are born again. I am not broken. I am being reforged. Do you understand that? Steel, once shattered, seems useless. Fragments, shards, pieces scattered on the ground. But a forge sees something different. A forge knows broken steel is not the end. It is only the beginning of something stronger, something sharper, something unbreakable. I am that steel. I am that weapon. And every betrayal, every scar, every silence, they are the fire that reforges me. To the betrayed, I speak to you. To the ones who gave their trust only to be stabbed in the back. To the ones who opened their hearts only to be abandoned. To the ones who walked through fire and thought they would not survive. I am your voice. I am your reflection. I am the proof that you are not broken. You are only being reforged. I know the silence you carry. The silence after the storm. The silence when the crowd is gone. When no one checks on you. When the world pretends you don't exist. That silence is heavy. It crushes the weak. But for those who endure, it forges a crown. Because in silence, you hear truth. You hear your own heartbeat. You hear the whisper of destiny calling through the smoke. They think silence is weakness. Noise. You are the crown that rises from molten ruin. And when they see you again, when they see the steel in your eyes, the fire in your soul, the silence in your stride, they will know. They will know you are not broken. You are not gone. You are not weak. You are reforged. You are born again. You are the prophecy written in flame. Whisper this to yourself in the silence of your room, in the shadows of your gym, in the storms of your heart. I was never broken. I was only reforged. In fire. They will never know what it feels like to give your trust and watch it shatter in their hands, to hand them your heart and feel it trampled into the dirt, to carry people on your back only to feel the knife they hid pressed deep between your ribs. That is betrayal. Not the loud kind, the silent kind. The kind that kills you without spilling blood. I remember the laughter, Not laughter with me, laughter at me. They mocked when I fell. They whispered when I failed. They smirked when they thought I couldn't hear. Do you know that sound? It echoes louder than gunfire. It follows you into the night. It crawls into your bones until you can't sleep. And every time I close my eyes, I hear it again. I remember the faces, smiles dripping with lies, eyes pretending to care, hands pretending to hold, until the moment they let go. They left when the fire burned too hot. They left when the storms grew too dark. They left when loyalty demanded sacrifice. And in their absence, I learned the cruelest truth. You can love with all your soul and still be abandoned. You can give everything and still be called nothing. The scars they left, they never heal. No bandage covers betrayal. No medicine cures abandonment. It lingers. It festers. It builds walls around your heart. But here is the secret they never understood. Every scar is molten steel cooling into armor. Every wound, once burned, hardens. And what they thought would destroy me only made me harder to break. They called me weak. They thought silence was surrender. They mistook pain, the blade forged from their fire. They will not mock the warrior they created. They will kneel to it. It all collapsed. Not in a single moment, but piece by piece. Like watching a kingdom fall brick by brick, while the fire devours its throne. The ones I called friends became enemies in disguise. The ones I trusted with my blood turned their backs when I needed them most. The ones who swore they'd never leave vanished in the night. And family, even they doubted. Even they questioned. Even they looked at me like I was already defeated. The collapse wasn't just around me. It was inside me. Walls I had built with love and loyalty came crashing down in silence. Do you know what it feels like to stand in the center of the fire, watching everything you once loved turn to ash? The laughter of friends, gone. The warmth of love, cold. The safety of family, shattered. And all that remains is flame. Flame that eats everything you once held dear. Flame that does not stop to ask who deserves to burn. It does not care if you are ready. It does not care if you scream. It simply consumes. I remember nights staring at the ceiling, my chest heavy with silence, my mind screaming with ghosts. Loneliness is not quiet. It is deafening. It crawls into your veins. It grips your throat until you can barely breathe. It whispers, "You are nothing now. You are finished." And part of me believed it. Part of me thought maybe they were right. Maybe I was ash. Maybe I was the ruins they laughed about. Maybe I was the failure they said I'd always be. But here's the truth they never understood. Ash is not the end. Ash is fuel. They thought I would crumble. Different creature rises. A creature made of silence. A creature made of rage. A creature they will never understand until it is standing before them. They thought I was finished. They thought betrayal buried me. They thought abandonment silenced me. But you cannot silence what is fire. You cannot bury what refuses the coffin. You cannot kill what was born in flames. I am not their ruins. I am not their mistake. I am not their forgotten. I am the blaze that walked out of the ashes. I am the silence that carries storms in its chest. I am the scar they carved, now burning back into their sight. And when the world whispers, "He's done. He's broken. He's nothing," I only smile. Because they will never understand until it is too late. Until the silence they mocked becomes the roar that drowns them. Until the ash they laughed at ignites into fire that blinds them. Until the ruin they abandoned stands taller than the kingdom they built. I was not broken. I was burned. I was not erased. I was reforged. And in the silence after the flames, when they believed I was gone, I was becoming something else. Something they could never imagine. Something they could never break again. Silence. That is where I chose to live. Not the silence of defeat. Not the silence of surrender. The silence of a warrior entering the forge. I could have begged. I could have pleaded. I could have shouted to the heavens for pity. But pity is poison. Pity makes you soft. And I wanted fire. So I embraced silence. I let the world believe I was gone. I let the whispers fade into nothing. And in that nothing, I began. There is discipline in solitude, the kind most men will never know. The gym, when no one else is watching. The grind, when the world is asleep. The nights so cold the air cuts your lungs. The mornings so empty you question if you exist. But that is where transformation begins. Not in comfort, not in applause. In the cold rooms where no one cheers for you. In the empty nights where no one saves you. In the silence where the only voice is your own. Every rep was a strike of the hammer. Every scar was steel cooling into shape. Every night of rage was fire heating the blade. They thought the fire consumed me. Number. The fire forged me. I lifted not just weight. I lifted betrayal. I lifted silence. I lifted the ghosts of their laughter. The knives of their doubt, the memories of their abandonment. And with every lift, the hammer fell again. Strike, 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 until weakness bent, until fear cracked. Until steel emerged where flesh once was. There is a moment in solitude when pain becomes familiar, when loneliness becomes a companion, when silence stops feeling like a coffin. They lit when they abandoned me. I am the silence they gifted me when they left me alone. And I swear to you, they will regret it. They will see the crown forged in their betrayal. They will kneel before the weapon their knives created. This is rebirth, not soft, not holy. Rebirth in fire. Rebirth in storms. Rebirth in silence that shakes the earth when it finally speaks. I was never broken. I was reforged. I was never destroyed. I was recast. And now, when I walk, I do not walk as the man I was. I walk as the blade born in the furnace. I walk as the crown born in the storm. I walk as the silence they cannot understand. Remember this. Every representative, every scar, every night of rage is the hammer striking steel. And when the fire is done, when the forge is silent, when the smoke clears, what remains is no longer fragile. What remains is no longer weak. What remains is no longer yours to break. What remains is destiny. The silence could not hold me forever. It sharpened me. It crowned me. But silence was never meant to be the end. Silence is the chamber where weapons are born. And now, the weapon awakens. I rose from the fire, not crawling, not begging, not looking for a hand to pull me up. I rose like a blade torn from the forge, glowing, untouchable, dangerous. The man they buried was gone. The boy they mocked was gone. The victim they betrayed was gone. In their place stood something unrecognizable, something cold, something fierce, something inevitable. Do you know what it feels like to stand after the fire has burned everything? To realize the worst has already happened, and yet you are still here. That feeling is power. Not borrowed, not gifted, not given by applause or recognition. Power earned in solitude. Power burned into your veins by betrayal. It is a terrifying power because no one gave it to you. And that means no one can take it away. I became the predator. No longer prey. No longer hunted. No longer afraid of their knives, their laughter, their absence. Because I understood something the world will never admit. Pain is the greatest weapon. Silence is the sharpest blade. Loneliness is the strongest crown. They tried to kill me with all three, and all three became mine. I carried the gym on my shoulders like a battlefield. Every rep was war. Every drop of sweat was blood. Every scar was a scripture of resurrection. I did not train for applause. I did not fight for validation. I fought because rage cannot kill someone who has already died and chosen to rise again. I am not fragile. I am not soft. I am not the same. I am fire walking. I am silence roaring. I am pain crowned in steel. And I swear this oath. Every scar is my weapon. Every betrayal is my strength. Every night of rage is my fire. The rise is not for them. It is not for applause. It is not for recognition. The rise is mine. Mine alone. A crown they cannot touch. A kingdom they cannot burn. So let them watch. Let them whisper. Let them wonder how the ash they laughed at became the fire that blinds them. Let them ask how the silence they mocked became the storm that drowns them. Let them question how the victim they buried became the king standing before them. The answer is simple. I was never finished. I was never gone. I was only waiting. And now, the weapon has awakened. I have risen from the ashes. I have endured the silence. I have carried the scars. And now I stand. Not as the man they abandoned. Not as the boy they mocked. Not as the victim they betrayed. I stand as fire crowned in steel. I stand as storm wrapped in silence. I stand as the king they tried to bury and failed. This is not survival. This is domination. Survival is crawling. Survival is begging for mercy. Survival is hoping the wolves spare you. But I did not survive. I devoured. I conquered. I sharpened pain into weapon. I turned silence into empire. I crowned myself with fire. To those who betrayed me, look closely. Do you recognize me? Number. Because what you left behind is gone. The broken boy is gone. The pleading soul is gone. What stands before you now is the throne you built with your betrayal, the kingdom forged in your absence, the crown hammered by your knives. You did not destroy me. You created me. Do you understand the weight of that? Every laugh, every doubt, every scar you carved was fuel. Every moment of silence you forced me into was training. Every time you tried to bury me was planting. And now I rise as the harvest. Now I rise as the fire. Now I rise as the crown forged in flame. I am not asking for recognition. I am not begging for apology. I am not waiting for you to admit what you did. I don't need your words. I don't need your presence. I don't need your loyalty. I have already taken everything you gave me and reforged it into power. I have already turned your When I speak, storms will answer. When I fight, the ground will remember my fire. I am no longer one of them. I am above them, crowned by flames, forged by storms, seated on a throne of scars. This crown is not gold. It is steel hammered by betrayal. It is fire cooled into silence. It is blood crystallized into destiny. This throne is not velvet. It is stone carved by rage. It is shadow molded by solitude. It is the ruin they left me in, rebuilt into empire. This kingdom is not built by loyalty. It is built by pain. It is built by scars. It is built by the silence they forced upon me. And now it stands unshakable. Because no one can take what no one gave. Understand this. I owe them nothing. Not forgiveness, Not words, not a glance. What they gave me was betrayal, and I repaid it by becoming untouchable. What they left me with was silence, and I repaid it by becoming unstoppable. The greatest revenge is not rage, it is transformation. The greatest vengeance is not death, it is domination. And I have dominated. Now I look back at them. The friends turned enemies. The lovers turned strangers. The family turned doubters. And I do not feel sorrow. I do not feel pity. I do not feel longing. I feel power. I feel fire. I feel the crown of flames they placed on my head when they left me to burn. And for that, I almost thank them. This is the climax. The roar after the silence. The storm, the fire has burned. The scars have hardened. The silence has spoken. And now, only one truth remains. I was never broken. Everything they did to end me only crowned me. Everything they took away only freed me. Everything they destroyed only built me stronger. Listen closely. I am not here to beg for your belief. I am not here to plead for your recognition. I am not here to ask for forgiveness. I am here to declare that pain is not death. To declare that betrayal is not the end. To declare that silence is not defeat. They are forges. They are furnaces. They are the storms that carve kings out of ordinary men. You thought I was gone. You thought I was ruined. You thought I was nothing but ashes. But ashes remember fire. And fire remembers everything. I walked through the flames. I carried the scars. I lived in the silence. And I emerged as something you will never understand. A creature born not of mercy, but of fire. To those betrayed souls listening in the shadows, I speak to you now. I know your silence. I know your rage. I know the storm you hide in your chest. Do not fear it. Do not bury it. Do not beg the world to take it away. Let it burn. Let it forge you. Let it crown you. Every scar you carry is not weakness. It is prophecy. Every night you endure is not wasted. It is preparation. Every silence you suffer is not a coffin. It is a throne. waiting to be claimed. I do not speak as a victim. I do not speak